Raplife Sports. I'm your host, Otis Smith. We have the CEO and founder, Sahara Brinson. Today we have a treat for you guys today. We got my man Robert Scoop Jackson, ESPN sports writer. He's written several books. He's a writer. He's done a lot for the culture of sports as well as the way he carries himself with that hip hop swag as well. Robert, we appreciate you coming on the show, man. God bless you. Thank you for your time.
Man, call me Scoop. Yeah, the only people that call me Robert are people that owe me money. So you good? Don't you know?
Oh, let me call you Scoop then. Let me call you Scoop.
Don't start that Robert stuff, man, because that means I got some people after you.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, we just try to be respectful until we get to know someone.
We all good, man. We family, so it's all good.
We definitely want to say, appreciate the time again for, giving us this opportunity, man. It's amazing. You an icon in my eyes, what I mean, growing up, and just like a Jordan, like you like Jordan to me. That's how I see it. You know what I mean? So I feel like I'm real talk, man.
I appreciate, man. That's love, and I appreciate what y'all doing. So it's it's respect right back. So that's how we get down, and that's how we grow.
I appreciate that, man. Well, I'll go ahead and get the questions going. Well, we're in today's time. We in the time of what we are.
Right.
How do you feel like how should, just speaking with the NBA, like how what do you feel the players should do in regards to maybe playing, maybe not playing, taking a stance?
Yeah, I think you can. I think it's all individual. I think every individual player has to make their own individual decision. I don't think there's any situation that where it becomes unionized and they all get together and say we're going to do this, we're not going to do this. I think the NBA as a league, at least is trying to do something.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not mad at that. Not for the owners. I'm not looking at the owners just trying to make money or not trying to lose money or anything. I'm looking at it as the fact that, all right, our season shut down. Is there a chance for us to restart this thing? And if there is, let's see if we can work it out. And if I'm a player in the NBA and, I'm like, well, I got to give them credit for at least trying to make an effort.
Right.
And not just sitting on their ass and be like, nah, we're done and you're done, and all the other stuff that comes with it. At least they make an effort. And if you love the game of basketball, especially at the NBA level, I can't be mad at them trying to at least make an effort. Now, I will say this. Mm-hmm. I know Adam Silver, and I know that he's not in this to try to appease the owners, or try to just generate income and interest and all this. He's a basketball guy. And he's like, look, I'm a commissioner now. If we had a chance to make this happen, basically, he took 50 cents. I'm going to die trying. I'm going to die trying to at least make this season happen. And if we at least started and it doesn't work out, hey, cool. At least we say we tried to do it. And I'm sure he didn't talk to the entire, Players Association trying to make this happen because there were so many other things they had to set in place before they even presented this to the players.
Sure.
And they're talking to Disney and they're talking to their owners and there's so much stuff they're trying to get out to even make this thing possible before they even present it to the players as a collective unit. But I'm pretty sure along the lines, he's like, hey, if I can get this started, what you all thinking? I'm pretty sure enough of them were like, hey, man, if you could do something and we can get back to hooping again, cool. And I think that's earnestly what this is all about. Now, if David Stern was commissioner, whole different story. But I think Adam Silver rose in a different way, and he's about the culture and the game of basketball, not necessarily the business of basketball. So for me, as a fan, I applaud the effort. I applaud the effort in him diligently trying to go out and at least trying to finish the season. That's just me as a fan. But as a player, to answer your question, I think it's every individual has to make a decision on their own of what's in their personal best interest. And that goes, down the line. So what's right for Chris Paul may not be right for Russell Westbrook, which may not be right for Steph Curry, which may not be right for LeBron James and Anthony Davis, which probably may not be right for Patrick Beverley and Kawhi Leonard, which, we can go down the line and start naming every player, every team, and everybody's situation is different. And I'm not gonna, and I don't think we should hold any decision anybody makes in this current situation against them, whether it's they're concerned about their safety, whether they still want to stay connected to the movement, where they're dealing with their family safety, where they're just like checked out already because of the way the season checked out, the way, or if it's like they don't want their contract is up at the end of the season, they're gonna be a free agent and they don't want to risk that getting hurt right now. All type of things going to these situations, and that's what I'm thinking. It's an individual situation. Every player has to make individually, and from our standpoint, because of how unique this situation is, we need to respect any decision any of them make. Period.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that because you've already answered the question, because I was going to ask you that about Avery out with the Lakers and some flack that he's getting. His son having underlying health issues, respiratory.
Right.
And he doesn't want to take that opportunity. So I'm glad that you stated that. As far as we shouldn't, everybody's got to do what they need to do for their own families.
But here's the thing: even if he didn't have somebody in his family that had underlying issues, if he just was like, look, I'm just not cool with this, that's fair. Because if we're having real talk right here, as much as the NBA has done, and as many things as they tried to put in place to make sure this thing runs right, they still don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's to me like this. Let's take it out of the NBA and let's say you work for airlines and you had to go back to work at an airport. Mm-hmm. They ain't got all that figured out.
That's sure
and if you're like, look, man, there's not enough stuff figured out for me to even come back to work, so I'm holding out. I can't be mad at you. Right. Even if you say, hey, we're doing this, it's still not figured out, because guess what? All three of us know that what was happening and supposed to be the rules this week, there are going to be some other rules next week for our safety situation. This thing has been fluid for the last 5 months. It's ever changing. And even the scientists can't figure out what's going to come next. So how are we going to hold against somebody if he's not totally 100% secure because of all the changes and he's just not cool with it? You have to respect it, regardless of what the family situation is. It's just a matter, if I'm uncomfortable going back in this space because y'all haven't figured this out 100, then I'm not going back. Because as much as we love the game of basketball, as much as we love sports, we're still talking about illness, which is connected to death.
Yeah.
We're still in that situation. And until you get that solved, then no. If somebody's not cool with it, then regardless, whatever reason they give, everybody should respect that.
Yeah, you're right. Well,
go ahead, Sahara.
With change being said, we had today, Thad Maker, younger brother, change the game and commit to an HBCU. I got a strong feeling young Mikey is gonna follow suit. I hope he do.
Hey, Mikey put it out there on Twitter though. Mikey said put it out there. He hadn't made a commitment, but he put it out there on Twitter.
But he put it out there. But for Maker to go on and make that commitment today, I think it was Hampton. I think that's huge.
No, it was Howard. It was Howard.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
you're right. You're right. I'm a Howard.
It was Howard.
I'm a Howard.
You're right.
Don't play that. It's about to get personal now.
My bad. So how do you feel about that type of change that's going to be coming forth, in sports? I feel like that's going to be the new wave, especially with the one and done kids.
Yeah, I think with the one and done kids is going to be cool, and I think the way the NCAA has played itself out over the last couple of years, the players are going to realize that it may not be necessary for them to go, to a big time D1, above mid-major school in order to get recognized, get found, and get looked at very highly in the draft. I think that whole dynamic is going to change, but I'm still one of those cats that, for the most part, doesn't believe that one individual is going to make a whole shift in how things are going to get done. I think, Maker making a decision to attend Howard, to attend the HBCU, that's dope. That's spectacular. But I don't know, especially with the way these cats recruit when they have so much more money, if they're going to be able to continue to pull off not getting top 20 players and making stuff attractive for you to go to that school? Because even though it's one and done, it's still about the experience that you spend in that year and what you gain from that experience at the time that you're there. So, as if Hampton goes up to, whoever the next, McDonald's parade, Jordan, All-American is, say, hey, man, we want you to come to Hampton. We a rival against Howard, and you get the whole HBCU experience, all this, that, and the other. Man, look, when Calipari walks up to your house, yeah, that's nice, but here's what your 1 year Kentucky's going to be like. Yeah, you could go to Hampton and still get picked in the first round. You come here and still get picked in the first round. But this is what your life is going to be like. And you know how that big college life is, especially when you coming from the hood and you ain't never seen no shit like that before.
Yeah.
Ooh, you like hell for 1 year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right.
You're still battling against that. So when those, when those top schools, those Kentuckys, those UCLAs, those Louisvilles, those Floridas, those Big Ten schools, those, all those big schools that have endowments that are in the millions, and they have basketball programs that have pedigrees that go back for 50 years, and you see all that, and you see everything, and you are 18 years old. You know what I'm saying? You go to Hampton, you go to Hampton and Howard's campus and see what your dorm room is going to be like. And then you go to one of these Big Ten schools like University of Michigan and see like your dorm room is the size of a damn floor in a hotel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The food you're going to eat. You know what I'm saying? Just the food you're going to eat. They take you to the athletes' cafeteria. And one of these Big Ten schools, man, come on now.
It's a big difference.
They're gonna take you to the food truck, my man. We got these hair smokers right here. Come on, man. You still battling against the big institutions. So I'm not saying that Maker's move is gonna change the whole dynamic and make a total shift that way. For all of a sudden, you go see 5, 6, 7, 10 All-Americans or Max Prep top players or ESPN top 100 players flooding the HBCU market. I don't see that happening. You see a couple that may go and sprinkle, but I don't see that whole dynamic changing like that overnight. It's going to take time to make that happen. But I will say this, though. What we might see more of is the Ja Morant situation, where it's not, a top 25, top 50, high school player that decides to go to a HBCU, but a player that grows up over the course of 2 years that comes from not even recognized in the top 100 to be one of the top 3 players in the draft out of nowhere, the same way Ja Morant did. I think you'll see that coming in more HBCUs.
Okay.
Players are mad like, oh, y'all overlooked me? Nah, I'm going to Hampton.
See, I do think by them, when they start being able to get paid for their likeness, I think it'll never balance out, but I think that'll also help to where if 5 top players, like how they went, the Fab 5, let's say we all want to go to whatever HBCU, and we getting paid for our likeness, and we can create our own money and generate, I think that may, help kind of change the dynamics in the future by them being able to get paid. Like, we can get paid either school we go to now, so now we can go into an HBCU 5 deep and start something and create just a whole new dynamic. But it's going to take some time, but it's the first step. Saying,
but we're still talking about the NCAA, so there will be corruption. Am I right?
Of course.
Okay.
They like the government. They the government.
Right. Okay.
Neck and neck.
Right. So let's be real about this. You go into an HBCU, and yes, you can get paid for your likeness. But when you don't go to HBCU, what are they going to tell you? Yeah, you can go to the HBCU, and you might be able to get this for your likeness. But not only can you get money for your likeness out here, here's what we can give you.
Yeah. 1,000, envelope, a nice envelope.
Right. We got that. And we can legally find a way to do this for you, fun. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Your likeness over there in that state at that school is worth this. Your likeness over here, we ain't even got to bring the state in it. Just your likeness and what it's worth over here at this school. You know what I'm saying? It's like, look, man, Hampton University, Howard University, I think they ranged around 10,000 students. right?
Mm-hmm.
I think around 10, maybe 8, 10,000 students. All right, that's cool. That's, and they both in the Virginia, DC area.
Right.
That's fine. All right. Once again, let's go University of Kentucky or University of Michigan. Man, we got 40,000 kids just on this campus alone. So now, whatever you're going to make as far as your likeness, as far as your jersey sales, all this, that's cute over there at Hampton and Howard. That's cute. That little 10,000 is cute. We got 40,000 right here alone at this school. Now, if you coming in the SEC or you coming in the Big Ten, your likeness is going to spread throughout this whole damn conference.
Right.
So it's not just Hampton and Howard where your likeness is going to be big time. Your likeness is going to be big in this whole conference. So in SEC, that's Florida, that's University of Mississippi. That's all that. Michigan has every Big Ten school. Indiana, Illinois, Purdue. Dude.
All of them.
So now you starting to count change. So that's what I'm saying. It's going to be cute, but that likeness thing is only going to go so far in comparison to what these big universities are going to do when you're thinking about going to HBCU.
You're right.
They're going to bang a dollar in front of your face. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be hard. It's hard for me to think that it's going to be a total shift immediately. Because they're going to dangle that dollar. Trust they can dangle it.
Your answer just segued into my next question. And something that Sahara and I talk about all the time. Do you think more NBA players, right, should do what Ray Allen did, as far as representing themselves, as far as, just having an attorney, to dot the I's, cross the T's, but because it's on a rookie scale, right? And then it's not that hard to figure out the extension from the rookie contract, right? To get that extension, then going into getting the max dollars. Do you think more players should start looking at like, hey man, might need to cut the middleman out and just have an attorney to explain the language in the contract to you versus the whole negotiation?
I think from that aspect it will work, but I think Ray Allen is a unique situation, and much like LeBron is a unique situation. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, I've always thought that if you just think that all your agent or attorney does is represent you in contract negotiations at the professional level, mm-hmm. I'm not going to say you're stupid, but you're kind of stupid. To me, attorneys are like insurance policies. You have to be the perfect athlete where nothing is going to go wrong. So yeah, the salary structure lends itself for you to function in a way that you basically don't need them. But that's only that. Let's go to one. Who's going to bail your ass out when something wrong goes wrong? When something happens and you don't have an attorney. You put out the wrong tweet. You get caught up in the wrong hotel with the wrong girl. You know what I'm saying? You get, anything that can go wrong. You get anything that could go wrong. How you gonna handle that without going to somebody that doesn't know you, that hasn't handled all your business?
Gotcha.
Okay, what happens when your shoe contract is up or the shoe deal that you got, they drop you? Who's gonna represent you to get that shoe deal? And shoe deals can be bigger than your damn playing contract.
Yeah.
All right, let's go a third time. What happens when you have to deal with an injury and all of a sudden you are not living up to the value of the contract that you signed? Now you're going into free agency and you're not a max player. Who's going to be the one speaking on your behalf to negotiate with other teams and sell them on you?
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? What agents do, agents connect with team owners and team managers and vice presidents, and presidents of player operations and all this. They talk to them on a regular basis. And a lot of those deals are struck that have nothing to do with you and your value. It's about, hey, man, I got this player here. You got this player over there. Maybe we can make this work. You know what I'm saying? So instead of you just dealing with teams in the NBA or teams in the NFL, well, let's do the NBA because you bought a Ray Allen. Right. Teams in the NBA saying, you know what? His numbers dropped last year. He doesn't have the same value. I know he's out there looking for a max deal, we ain't gonna give it a max deal. So now you out here on your own, and you cannot talk to those teams about you getting a max deal because they ain't listening to you. But as agents go, especially an agent that has multiple players, like, look, man, if you give my man this, next year I'll make this guy available for you.
Gotcha.
And y'all know how that goes.
Play the game.
You right? Because it's all a game. And or they'll do it the other way. If you don't give my guy this, then I'm gonna make sure this guy is not available for you.
Gotcha.
It's you need to have somebody, I think, that is in position to deal with owners and management that can speak for you in a way you can't speak for yourself.
Gotcha.
On various levels. And the way negotiations work in professional sports, and you all know this, it's not unilateral.
No.
There still is and out. Even though the salary structure is still set, it's only set for a certain amount of players. Because you may think you deserve a max deal, but 29 of those 30 teams in the league may disagree with you. And that 30th team that does think you are worth a max deal, they might not have the money to spend on you. Now, you can't go into a negotiation with 29 teams using that 30th team as collateral.
Right.
Like, hey, man, if you don't take me, they gonna take me. You can't do that. But your agent can. Somebody who knows this business has done this, and he's not only doing it for you, he's negotiating with other players. He's in conversation with these people all the time. He can break it down and represent you in a way that you can't. And he can use that 30th team as collateral because he can tell other teams, like, look, I already got a deal set with them. They do not have the money to pay him, but I'll have my client take a lesser value for that because I'm going to get two players because I got another player that's a free agent. So I can do a 2-for-1 with them right now. I'm already in negotiation with them about that. So either you find a way to get my player a max deal, or the Clippers right now are about to get both of them up. They're about to get Kawhi Leonard and Paul George right now. Because I'm talking to them right now.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So what are you going to do? Kawhi Leonard can't go to a team owner and tell him that. You have to have somebody representing you to make that deal in order to give you the best, to get you the best deal, to work it in your best interest.
Understood.
So, as much as the structure of the salary cap is set up for you to not have one, it never goes that clean. It never goes that clean.
Your name ain't played that way.
It never goes that clean, ever. And once again, I'm still looking at the first thing I'd always think about is the insurance policy of this all. When things go bad, and especially now with social media, you do. I love my man to death, but you do a Kevin Durant, and it gets found out that you got a ghost account. You know what I'm saying? Or hell, I'll go D-Lo. All of a sudden it's found out that you tricking out on your teammates.
Yeah.
And then every team in the league, oh man, no, we ain't messing with him. You know what I'm saying? If you're D-Lo and something like that happens and it gets out, and not everybody's like, whoa, my man's toxic right now. How are you gonna enter into free agency without somebody representing you?
Yeah.
How you gonna walk into the game and the team that you on trade you to Brooklyn? Anything to get rid of your ass. And now, no, seriously. Because, seriously, anything to get rid of your ass, and now you stuck, and your value just by that trade dropped you from possibly getting a max deal to being a top player on a low bottom feeding team. Who's going to talk your way back out of that?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Not you.
Right, exactly. See, there's so many things that go into play. And I'll throw another one out there. Who's going to speak for you when the team that you're on is not respecting you the way you need to be respected, and help you in how to handle that? Who's going to talk to the general manager? Who's going to talk to the coach? Who's going to talk to them about you getting playing time? Who's going to talk to them And you all know this. Who's going to talk to them about you meeting the incentives that you had to sign in order to get the max deal that you got? Like, in order for you to get this $50 million, you know, $30 million is the base, but in order to get the total $50 million, you have to average 200 minutes a season. You have to average 15 points a game. You have to average this many rebounds. You have to play 70 games. You know, all these things, these incentive-related contracts all come into play and make you money. And so when the coach is not playing you because the owner is like, hey, I ain't trying to give up that extra 20 million, you know, reduce his playing time. You know what I'm saying? Now, how you the player, you bitching with the coach, doing this, that, and the other, you're not going to win that. Who will win that, though?
The agent.
Agent, because the agent is like, look, you keep fucking with my man, I'll make sure none of my players ever mess with you. And you know my roster. You know what I'm saying? You know my roster. You start doing that David Falk type talk. I got Michael Jordan. I got Patrick Ewing. I got Allen Iverson. I got Ray. I go down the line of all my clients. And everybody's contract come up. So you messing with my man right now, I'll make sure none of my players mess with you. None of them. Come on, man. Yeah.
All right, just a different tune. What's been one of the best perks that you've had by the position you've had, the role you've been in sports? What's been one of the best perks that you've had?
Wow. Wow, that's a good one.
Coming on Raplife.
Huh? Yeah. Y'all two brothers calling me. That's it. Yeah. Being ready on Rap's life. Yeah, that's it. I'm good. I done reached the pinnacle. Probably a perk that is yet to happen yet. But it's in the makings. It's been in the making for a couple of years. Jordan brand giving me my own shoe.
Oh, that's too hard.
Yeah, so
that's too hard.
We had the concept and the shoe was done, and then technically the idea got stolen and it wound up being the Jordan 33. So we back at the drawing board trying to get that done, but and I'm not talking about like remix of a retro or nothing like that. We're talking about a whole new
line, signature shoe.
Yeah. So that's the perk hasn't happened yet, but that's probably that's the biggest.
That's big, man. Yeah. That's big.
And you see how when I started off, I said you a legend, just like MJ. Like before you even said this, like that. It's a parallel. It's only right that you have a shoe. Like I think that's only right, man. That's crazy.
So hopefully it'll happen. It'll happen.
We're gonna manifest that, man.
Hey, wait. If not, y'all gonna see me walking around with prototypes on my feet.
Hey, listen. At least they should give you free Jordans for life. If they don't give you a shoe, they should at least get free Jordans for life.
Hey.
You know what? I can't lie. Jordan and Nike, since we've been in partnership since I wrote that book for them. So we have a good family relationship. So I'm it's a nice place to be family with. They're a really good place to be family with. And then to be honest with you, from the work standpoint, I've worked on some stuff with Nike that I would even consider perks because it's been an honor, to work on the equality campaign, work on the Colin Kaepernick campaign, to work on LeBron's first campaign. To work with Jordan on just stuff that's just happened through there. Has been just doing the book, working on the battleground stuff, just all type of stuff I've been able to do. With them has been perky. It's been just perks in general.
Cool.
Well, I gotta ask you this question. Oh, go ahead, sir.
No, you got it. It's on you.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. Do you? When we talk about the GOAT conversation, right? Do you? I look at it when you talk about GOAT. I only look at a couple of guys, which is Kareem, Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, and Magic.
Fair.
What are your thoughts on that? And the reason I put Kareem in, because I want to get your thoughts on it, is because
you do not have to explain.
let me that's the reason.
You can talk to other people.
Not you. This is what I want you to expound on. People think it's the NBA Hall of Fame, and they don't realize it's the Basketball Hall of Fame. So they take all your basketball accomplishments, not realizing Kareem has won at every single level he's been at. The only reason he doesn't have 4 college championships is because they didn't play freshmen.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to throw that at you and see, if you can expound the difference on all those, those players.
No, I agree with everyone that you just mentioned, and the other one I would throw in there myself would be Bill Russell. And the reason I throw Russ in there is because I'm a big believer in splitting the game in half and understanding the importance of defense. Defense really is 50% of the game, and we're talking about the greatest defensive player to ever play the game. We're talking about the guy who stopped Wilt Chamberlain, from winning, just handed like Wilt Chamberlain, the most dominant player, of all time. He is Shaq. If you want to go with that conversation, but the fact that Wilt Chamberlain only got 2 rings in his whole lifetime, and lost, I forgot, maybe 7 times to Bill Russell. Bill just physically stopped him from getting rings, let alone winning 11 rings in 13 years, and let alone coaching while playing and winning things, doing that, he and still being an offensive force and being the centerpiece to University of San Francisco, doing their thing, building the entire Boston Celtics dynasty, and like I said, playing his role defensively. I think something that gets overlooked because everybody looks at the offensive numbers and doesn't understand what he did defensively and how important that was to the game of basketball itself and his greatness as a whole by being as dominant on defense as somebody like Wilt Chamberlain was on offense. So he's the only person I would probably say might be missing in who you're saying the GOAT is. But, to me, I think the GOAT conversation boils down to whether or not you feel it's a one-person conversation. When you say greatest of all time, do you mean singular, or are you speaking of just the top tier of individuals? Because if you only talk about one individual, I think then it just boils down to your preference. I don't, no disrespect to anybody, and definitely no disrespect to Michael Jordan, but it's hard for me to argue with somebody who doesn't feel that this certain individual is the greatest of all time. Yeah. Because it becomes at that point your preference. And wow. I don't think basketball is so binary that we can have this conversation of the greatest of all time and make it singular, where in all other damn near walks of life, we can't do that.
Right.
We can't say who the greatest singer is. We can't say who the greatest designer is. We can't say who the greatest architect is. We can't say who the greatest, actor or actress is. You know what I'm saying? We can't say who the best bus driver is. We can't say who the best lawyer is. We can't say who the best Supreme Court judge is. We can't say who the best president. We go down the line in every other walk of life and really can't say, without it being a preference, who the greatest of all time, who that GOAT is. We can't do that without saying, all right, that's your preference. You know what I'm saying? That's, and we respect that. So why in basketball, like I said, Jordan is phenomenal, but he can't set a bar so high that he's the end all be all of that conversation. To me, when we tell the GOAT conversation, it's not a one-person conversation. It's, all right, here's maybe top 5, top 6, whatever. And then after that, it's your preference. Just like in any other walk of life. Like if you got a wife or a husband, this, that, and the other, nobody in here can walk up and say, my husband's the greatest husband of all time. No.
You.
That's
There
your
you
preference.
go.
That's all they
that's
the
it.
same thing. We can't sit up here and say who the finest woman of all time is. We can't.
Because you're going to see somebody finer as soon as you say that.
Right, but it's still your preference. I mean,
Right.
we can say Holly Berry is, we can, fine, but there's still some argument.
Yeah. I'm gonna say a smart
I
answer.
like Sanaa Lathan. Some brothers gonna be like, nah, man, Nia Long. It depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah. My wife.
There it is. Right. So that's my point, is that why in all walks of life, in anything we do, we can never have an individual GOAT conversation, but we expect to have one in basketball. So that's why I can't argue with anything you say. When you talk about a GOAT conversation, in my mind, it's not a singular conversation, man. Unless we're talking about preference. Let's put out there who we feel should be in the GOAT conversation, and then we pick from there. You know what I'm saying? And then we pick from there. Because like I can't argue with my father about Oscar Robertson not being the GOAT. I can't argue that. I can't argue what Oscar did and what he was doing, and you can't argue that. You really, it's hard to argue that, because we in our generation have made what he did on a regular basis the highest standard. We made the triple-double the highest standard you can play as far as a category is, a category you can have in basketball, because it involves 3 of the top offensive things that you can do. And rebounding can go offense and defense, but at the same time, but to have a guy average that shit in his career, and wait, and we're not talking like 10 points. Ridiculous. And he did this at 6'5". It wasn't like he was Wilt Chamberlain overpowering people, and he did it while Wilt Chamberlain was playing.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So how am I gonna argue with my father? When he's like, man, damn all that Jordan, damn all that LeBron shit. I'm telling you right now, what Oscar Robertson did, and never gonna happen again. And guess what? We talk about Russell Westbrook like he's phenomenal, and he just did it 3 seasons. This man, that was his career.
His career.
So my thing is that how am I gonna argue with him about Mike? You know what I'm saying? And we could say, hey, well, Mike got rings. Well, now we're talking a whole different thing, because we're not talking about greatest team all the time. We talk about greatest player, individual. Yeah, it's nice you can add the rings, but the rings ain't the end all be all in the individual conversation. You know what I'm saying? Oscar played for the Cincinnati Royals. He ain't have what Mike had. He ain't had Scottie Pippen. He ain't have Phil Jackson. He ain't had Dennis Rodman or Horace Grant. You know what I'm saying? He ain't had it. He ain't had a triangle offense. He ain't have Tex Winter.
True.
He didn't have all that work with him. Oscar's ass was stuck in Cincinnati. The same way Earl Monroe was stuck in Baltimore before he got to the Knicks, man. Come on.
True story, man. With that, man, we can end right there, man. And again, we definitely want to appreciate you for giving us your time, coming on Raplife Sports. Being able to have a conversation with somebody that I done looked in and read articles, and you one of the role models for me, man. I'm 36, about to be 37. You're a black example for us young men to look up to. How to carry yourself. Like, it was always more than just Jordan's shoulder. So I always was watching everybody to understand how to, be a man and how to carry myself.
Appreciate that.
How to speak to people and, going to college, a lot of that stuff trickled down, growing up in the 90s. I felt like a lot of people was legends, and you're definitely one of them. So I hope you get that shoe. And as soon as it come, I'm buying it, getting in the line. However I got to do it, I got to get 2 of them. Scoop, yeah, man, just from the heart, like, just know you affected somebody's life, man. You affected my life cold firsthand. So you one of the reasons I went to college and graduated college, man.
My man, I appreciate
that. Was able to do it.
I appreciate that, and that's love. And I'm glad you said that. And because you said it, when the shoe come out, I'm just sending you one. Don't worry, you ain't got to worry about that. You good.
Oh man, look.
I get that popping. But real talk though, man. I appreciate you saying that, and I want you all to understand that's part of what I feel we all kind of have to do, or at least strive to do, is to have some type of impact, not only on those we know and those we are surrounded by, but those that are some way connected to us that we don't even know are connected to us. When I speak to cats all the time, they always talk about my job. And I'm like, well, here's the thing. I don't have a job. Never have had a job. What I have had, and this is the way it goes to me, there's job, there's career, and there's responsibility. What I've had my whole life has been responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Because job is something you collect a check from week to week for. You know, yeah, of course I've collect checks, but I've done it on my own time, and I've only done it for me. And I never strived to have a job. I've always wanted to build a career. Not have a career, build a career. That was in my power. And that takes just a consistency of doing work and being true to whatever craft you decide to lay your hands on and lay your heart in. Right? That's a career. But once you get that past all that in mind and understand that that's over here, that that's something you should not strive for, the next step should be your only step. And that step is responsibility. And that's what I've always tried to do. And like when I decided to become a writer, once I made that choice, then it went from job, career to responsibility before it even started. Because if I'm going to do this, I have to be responsible not only to the craft, but I have to be responsible for what I think I have the ability to make of this craft and everything that comes along it, so that I'm responsible for not only what I do, but for every other brother and sister that wants to have a similar opportunity. And that's what that responsibility is. And that's why you put responsibility first. And I've always tried to keep that in mind, and at the forefront of everything I do is just I have to be responsible. I have to flow and function inside of responsibility, because what I'm doing is not about a damn job. It's not about no fucking career. It's about me being a responsible black man for the time I have here on earth. And that responsibility is to me. That responsibility to me is to the craft. That responsibility is to my family. And that responsibility is to you all, even if I don't know you all.
I have to salute you on that one. And everything Sahara said, I echo the sentiment on. You also one of the reasons I got into this business. You, Stuart Scott, Chris Broussard, all you guys I look at, because you cover sports in a certain way, like Sahara said, that we can identify with. And I want to, when the NBA start back up, I know you're a busy man and you're scheduled, but we would like to make sure we can schedule you to, discuss, things in sports and NBA, because a lot of people don't realize too, you also wrote and covered baseball.
Oh yeah, without question. Without question. There hasn't been, and that's the blessing of being with ESPN, there hasn't been too many sports that I haven't been able to put my hands on. So that's a beautiful thing. Before I got to ESPN, y'all know I was doing a lot of basketball, right? It was a lot of basketball, which I love, because that's my heart. But, ESPN gave me the opportunity to really put my hands on a lot of different sports, which was lovely. I still love doing. So yeah, we could talk all day. What we should do, which I think would be cool, I don't know how you all time is, but we should have a pre-finals conversation. Like when the finals in the NBA get set.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Let's do that. We can do that.
We'll do that.
Yeah, that would be dope.
Okay.
Do that.
Oh, one other thing. I'm also, because we also cover young people, the next generation, Sahara and I. So would you also be cool if we interview these, 5-star athletes and stuff like that, and kind of get you in the mix with them to get them to kind of understand what they about to take on, whether it's going to an HBU school or, a top school? Would you be cool with us doing something like that as well?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. It's
All
cool with me. It's cool with me.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate it. We're gonna log out, man. With
Appreciate
that being
y'all.
said, everybody,
No
y'all
doubt.
be blessed, be fresh out there. Raplife.